Anitha Venkateswaran is a IT leader with 20 years of experience in leading digital technology strategies to deliver key business outcomes, enable growth, simplify and digitize operations, while providing world-class customer experience through digital transformation, innovation, and process excellence. Let's talk to her about IT's role in the business, whether it is still considered as an enabler or a partner in today's episode. This is the Guiding Voice podcast series, TGV for a Better Future. I'm your host Naveen Samala, just a fellow IT professional, on a mission to make the world a better place to live. Through the Guiding Voice, we drive conversations that matter and conversations that add value to your life and to your career. Thank you so much for joining me today. Anitha, hearty welcome to TGV, much awaited episode, but finally we are here in the virtual studio. Super excited to chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me here, Navi. Very excited as well.
Let's get into the conversation, Anitha. And I know we have worked at GE together, and now you're serving as a senior director still at GE. So can you briefly share your current role and how does a day in your work life look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I lead IT for service parts supply chain now in GE Healthcare. Healthcare has just been off as a standalone company as of January 4th, so a week, and we are all excited to start this new journey together. And my role and my team has an ownership of owning a number of applications and infrastructure and network in order to ensure that we are able to deliver service parts to our customers at the right time, at the right place, so that the equipment, medical equipment at the hospitals are functioning as expected. And ultimately, at the end of all this, there is a patient waiting for a procedure to be done or a scanning that has been planned for. Largely, the organization has a large volume of install base of medical devices, over 4 million, and we have more than 500,000 of unique parts that cater to needs of these equipments to keep it all up and running. And we have more than 60 warehouses for the service parts in order to distribute across the globe. So my days are not all the same. It varies differently every day depending on the priorities for the day. But largely, I can categorize them into three main buckets. First and foremost, it is operations, ensuring that if there are any escalations, attending to the escalations and ensuring that we are able to get the business operations up and running smoothly is the primary focus. And second, it is altogether programs and projects, mitigating risks and ensuring that our teams are able to keep our, strategies and execution up, continuing some of those. And finally, people. I would say meeting business leaders, IT teams, extended teams, as well as our vendors are kind of, I would say the three main kind of focus on a day-to-day basis.
Anitha, if I remember correctly, I think you started at GE Hyderabad and then moved to Singapore and now in the States. Likewise, you got an opportunity to work on diverse roles in diverse teams and all. You grew very well in your career. So what has been your success mantra?
Definitely. I think if I just reflect the journey, it is definitely to do with a lot on the passionate and being aspirational. Sometimes it would mean that need to be uncomfortable at some point in time, but challenging oneself, I think, keeps us moving. Second, continuous learning and being curious. A lot as I just moved roles after roles, it's kind of, the opportunity to learn more and more. And finally, gratitude, I would say, just being thankful and giving back. I would say these are kind of the success mantras.
You nailed them. And Anitha, moving on to the core of today's topic, IT was always seen as an enabler, right? And in fact, during at least a decade ago and all, CIOs did not have a seat in the boardroom, right? Now, at least now, I think scenario has changed. What is the reason why IT is seen as enabler but not as a mainstream business partner as such?
Yeah, definitely. It's a very interesting perspective to see largely, if I say it's not the case anymore, right? From the experience that I've had from many friends in and out of the organization. But primarily, the world is changing and in a rapid pace. Technology is advancing, and we have digitalization, maturity, and needs constantly progressing. I would say these are primary contribution towards positioning IT itself as a key business partner. But if I have to share a little bit more thoughts, Naveen, in terms of putting this into perspective, first and foremost that comes into my mind is partnership in itself, right? Like if you really reflect on strategies along with the business, and if you look at it, that undeniably leverages technology as a key as part of those strategies in order to innovate or grow. But considering these common goals and objectives in mind, I think that partnership plays very well. Second, foremost, it is the IT roles and responsibilities. Due to this increasing need of driving digital strategies or digital transformation, which is commingled with the business strategies in itself, it is extremely important to reimagine the way IT functions as an organization. What it would mean is right from the senior level in IT to define the roles and responsibilities, to have a better model for collaboration, and all these can make and enable our team across the organization to work as one team and more effectively. And finally, if I have to put in perspective, it is all to do with culture mindset, or culture mind shift, is a significant factor in making this collaboration happen. Partnership, in a nutshell, it's all around innovating, implementing, and growing together as an organization towards the business goals and objectives. So I think for that, what is most important is having the trust, the transparency, and the overall culture. So I think these are kind of few perspectives, and things are drastically changing as we speak today.
Yeah. I concur with you, especially COVID has turned the situation, right? And what has changed post COVID, especially the role of IT, in your opinion?
Definitely, as most of us, I think, would agree. In a very layman term, it is all to do with the common challenges that we all faced with respect to being remote in many aspects across the industry, be it education, be it the offices. So, and then the one which is very prominent in itself is COVID related, which is to do with the contact tracing or exposure tracing apps that were all developed during the time. And then if you look at broadly, some of the common needs like healthcare services in itself had to reimagine in terms of telehealth and more other services around. These are like a few among many innovations that has happened. But what I see through the through some of my own work related is the way things have been reimagined. For example, the supply chain resiliency is changing drastically with respect to what happened 2 years back, and where we are today, and how the future has been looked upon, and many innovations that are kind of building up on top of it. So as the saying goes, necessity is the mother of inventions. So I think COVID is a classic case of that.
In fact, crisis leads to innovation. That is also another thing which correlates to necessity of mother of invention. And on that note, let's move to the next question.
Yeah.
So initial days, at least in our careers and all, right? Business always treated IT as an enabler, and they didn't have much confidence. Okay, maybe because of availability of technology infrastructure, that could be another reason and all. But uh, just to make sure that the budding leaders understand, okay, the importance of gaining that business acumen and any other things that has to go into while becoming a leader, while growing a leader and all? What should they focus on to gain more confidence on the customers as well as the business leaders?
I, I think the first and foremost is basic understanding of the need. And when I say that, it is largely to do with, you know, active listening to be able to understand the underlying needs or underlying goals and objectives. But if I have to just drill that down further on, it's to do with building trust and having that partnership with our business leaders, because I think when we work towards the common goals and objectives, having that in mind, it is largely so not just the expectation is that not just have the technology experience or leadership, but also have the domain and business understanding to a large extent. And the second one I would say is also to do with the key leadership traits such as culture or the change management aspects, communication. All these play a key role as well. And then finally, it is to deliver. Right, you build trust when you are a partner who's also equally delivering for the business, and it's to lead from the front. It is also to do with learning from the setbacks, and finally, not to forget, it was also to do with building talents for the future, because we know that these are critical to sustain the organization. So I would say these are a few key thoughts.
Yeah, I can resonate with one of the statements like treat business as a partner. Don't think that, okay, they are giving us work and all, right? It makes absolute sense. And now let's talk about the mistakes that IT leaders should avoid, okay, so that they gain more confidence.
Boyd, yeah, I was just reflecting on the questions and on this particular question, and I was thinking it's more on the opportunities, if I can put it that way. And many of them, or most of them, are already exhibiting some of these, and in fact, many of them are taking it to the next level. A few that I would like to highlight today. One, it is like delightful customer experience. What would that mean? Is any changes as an IT, you keep building solutions, or you provide services, or you lead change management. It's extremely important to think that there are people and human behind what we are building or what we are serving for. So the human element plays a key role in considering for any solutions or for any services that we build for. And then it is also to do with not looking at a problem in a constrained way or in a narrowed manner, meaning thinking a little bit ahead to look at a big picture, and looking at more from an end-to-end standpoint, looking through the upstream and downstream, the negative space, and ensuring that we have a fair understanding of this holistically. I think that makes us much more in a better position as we build these solutions, and which is easier for us to not just the change management aspect of it, it also helps us in sustaining this in the long run. And then I think these days, one of the other bigger challenges are around the data and analytics piece. So more focus and advancing that data architecture. Needs of the organizations are growing drastically. More intelligence are being built. More opportunities are there, and more technology has been coming around. So I think it's all to do with how do we leverage and have more attention and focus there. And then finally, I would also add that it is to do with keeping up with the technology trends, and building the organization for which is ready for tomorrow. It's extremely important, and along with all this, there has to be some way where we can invest in innovation, because I think what we struggle is we typically tend to look at in a short term manner. So it is hard for us to see the future, allocate our budget towards R&D, allocate our budget towards innovation and invention. So I think that's kind of a few thoughts, Naveen, for that.
Yeah, excellent tips, I would say. And Anitha, this has been fabulous conversation, but let's lighten up the mood of our audience. With your consent, I'm going to kick off a quick rapid fire round.
Oh, sure.
All right, let me fire the first bullet. Have you ever slept in a classroom or a meeting?
No, not that I can think of.
Have you ever walked out of a movie halfway?
No, I love watching movies. So, no, I pick the right movies, so I don't step out at all.
Spot on. Uh, can you describe yourself in just one word?
I think it's passionate.
Wow. And did you ever steal anything from anyone?
No, nothing materialistic.
Very smart. All right, here comes my favorite. What is the favorite? What will be one fantasy gadget that you would like to see or invent yourself?
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot actually, but if I have to just state one, I'd go with one, say, smart or a wearable device that can detect all health issues in one shot.
Wow, mind blowing. Actually, like I think that will be a boon to the healthcare industry and especially for all of us. Right, we can detect so many things well in advance and plan our health very well. So, Anitha, that has been a fabulous rapid fire round. And with that, let's flip back to the mainstream. And one final question before I let you go. What will be your single piece of advice to those aspiring to make big in their careers or lives?
Oh, wow. I'd say never give up. Sky's the limit, so never give up.
So profound. Never give up. Sky's the limit. Anitha, thank you so much for joining me today. And it was really wonderful talking to you. Thanks for your time and all the wonderful insights. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a great session, Naveen. Good to see you as well again back.
Yeah, same here. And friends, that was our episode with Anitha. Before we move into the trivia section, here's a request to you. In case if you haven't subscribed to us, please subscribe from the app wherever you have tuned in from. Also, if you have loved this episode and found it useful, request you to share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who can benefit from the guiding voice. Thank you so much in advance. Now let's hop into the trivia segment of today's episode. Today's trivia is about programming language and its impact on World War. You know, computer programming was super instrumental in helping end World War II. Alan Turing, who was famous for Turing test, which is still considered as one of the inventions of artificial intelligence, was another incredibly famous mathematician who was also born in England on June 23, 1912. In the computer science community, he is predominantly recognized as the father of modern day computer science, and few folks call him or regard him as father of artificial intelligence as well. However, alongside this lofty title, he was also responsible for helping the Allies bring World War II to a close. During the height of the large-scale conflict, he would use his skills to crack the Enigma machine, a cipher utilized by the Nazis to protect their military communications. Interesting, isn't it? That's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me, folks. And please do not forget to share your topic recommendations or guest speaker suggestions through social media or email. My email address is theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. Friends, I'm your host Naveen, just a fellow IT professional and a passionate learner on a mission to make the world a better place to live. Until next time, bye bye. See you all in the next episode with another wonderful guest covering an awesome topic.